first time Jeremy wrote to me, he told me about how much he loves the cool night air of Los Angeles in spring, when the warm gusts from the desert mingle with the tangy ocean breezes. He told me that when he's in the Northwest, he misses breathing air with personality. In the Northwest, he says, the air is so washed out that you hardly even notice it. He told me that he is a born desert creature, a lonely pilgrim searching for an oasis in a hostile land. For him, everything is reduced to its extremes: darkness and light, failure and success, beauty and abomination. He told me once that he felt like the audience to his own life. It was as if his whole life was a story that he was telling to himself. His past was a story that he could remember, and his future was a story that he could make up. And he would get to decide how it would end. He would always give his story a heroic ending. He never had much of a problem with self-esteem. He always saw greatness in himself. But that isn't always a wonderful thing. If you're always imagining how great you can be, you can easily become detached from your material situation and find yourself cast adrift in fantasies of grand achievement. Another time he told me that he didn't want to be famous. He just wanted to be great. He doesn't care about what anyone else thinks of him or expects of him, and he doesn't care about being better than everyone else. He doesn't measure himself against other people. He just wants to be the best that a human being can be. If there is one thing that he is afraid of, it's that he won't live up to his expectations of himself. And when this fear of mediocrity consumes him, he becomes a completely different person. All of the grandiloquence leaches out of him, and he becomes the lowliest creature on the planet. He told me how much he suffers then. He told me that there were times when he would lie in his bed, too tired to sleep, and pray that someone would come and put him out of his misery. He's never felt comfortable as part of a crowd. He's always been someone who stands apart. Once he told me that he felt like he was out of tune with the rest of humankind. He can never quite penetrate their motivations or desires. Often he wonders if they are actually able to understand him, or if he is just as much of a mystery to them. He doesn't always communicate with other people very well. He was not made to be the ingratiating type, and he had never really learned the conventions of being human. He is the man from Mars, the stranger in a strange land. He is an exile among his own species. He's convinced that he can't express himself to other people, and yet he's determined to find a way to make himself understood. Once he told me that he wanted to write down in a book all of the things that he wasn't able to say, so that people could read them and understand who he really is. He's always been fascinated with islands. Like a true desert creature, he worships water. In the desert, water is the source of all life. To him, it is also the physical manifestation of divinity. To be on an island, then, is to be encompassed by the divine. He's always loved the ocean. When water is as precious as diamonds, it becomes a thing of absolute wonder. To a desert creature, the sight of that limitless blue expanse, stretching beyond the horizon, is tantamount to heaven on earth. He told me that he loves the ocean for the same reason that he loves the desert. For a human being to survive there, he has to be completely self-reliant. Being self-reliant has always been very important to him. He says that growing up in Los Angeles has taught him to always watch out for social parasites, the kind of people who lie in wait to prey on others' insecurities. If you aren't self-reliant, you won't stay ahead of them very long. He said that Los Angeles is infested with social parasites. The city was founded by one of the most parasitic classes of people in the world, real estate speculators. He says that's why everyone in Los Angeles retreats into their own little world. Angelinos never reveal much of themselves to others. They surround their minds with walls and fences and armed response burglar alarms, just as they do their homes. It's hard to learn to trust people when anyone you meet might be trying to take advantage of your friendship. He told me how much of a shock coming to Evergreen was. The environment is so different from what he grew up with that at times it hardly seems real to him. and adjusting to Evergreen culture was even tougher. At Evergreen, everything is constructed as a communal activity. In Los Angeles, he never had to have anything to do with anyone if he didn't want to. But at Evergreen, they took it for granted that he would get involved with everyone else. Being homeschooled had never prepared him for such an experience. He had never experienced the indoctrination of high school. He had never been exposed to the petty, parochial world of social cliques and societal cabals, the doctrinaire tyranny of standardized education, or the twisted performances of gender dynamics. He says it's made him a better person. But he had never actually had to deal with people before coming to Evergreen. He didn't really know how to interact with them. He told me how much he regretted that it has taken him 3 years just to learn how to make friends. He told me how hard it has been to find a way to express himself to a broader audience. How can he find images to communicate his deepest essence? How can he ever know if what he is saying will be understood? He says he feels like he doesn't speak the same internal language as everyone else. How can he find the right symbols to represent himself when he cannot even find the words to explain what those symbols mean to him? In a sense, Jeremy has always been alone. He says he likes it that way. As an introvert, he doesn't want to be around other people all the time. But on a fundamental level, as a human being, he still wants companionship. He told me that's why he made this film. So that he will be understood. So that people will no longer turn him away. Once he told me about Colin Fletcher, the nature writer who once walked the length of California, about how he said that one should always walk alone, unless your companion was someone with whom you were deeply in love. The kind of love where you feel like you're part of the same person. Then being with them is just like being alone. That's what Jeremy's always wanted. It's what he's always been looking for. Someone to be alone with.
In the California sunset, I dreamed a dream of you, but I couldn't see its meaning or how it could come true. Since then I've been wandering, trying to find my way from the depths of deepest darkness to the bright new light of day.